before we dive in, I need you to do something. If you think banks simply store your money in a vault and lend it out to others, drop a comment right now saying vault, because in this video, I'm going to completely shatter that belief. And here's the crazy part. If I told you that when you deposit $1,000 in your bank account, that same bank can create $9,000 out of thin air, you'd probably think I'm lying. But stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how this legal magic trick works and why it affects every dollar in your pocket. Hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to learn isn't taught in schools, but it should be. Let's start with a question that breaks most people's brains. Where does money actually come from? You probably think the government prints it, right? Well, yes, but that's only about 3% of the money supply. The other 97%, it's created by commercial banks, the same banks you walk into every day. And here's where it gets wild. They don't create this money by printing it. They create it by typing numbers into a computer. That's it. No printing press, no vault full of cash, just keystrokes. Sound insane? Let me prove it to you. And trust me, once you see how this works, you'll never look at banking the same way again. To understand how banks create money today, we need to go back in time. But just for a minute, centuries ago, banks actually did what you think they do. They were like giant vaults. You'd deposit your gold coins, they'd give you a paper receipt, and you could use that receipt as money because everyone knew you could redeem it for gold. Simple, right? But then bankers noticed something interesting. Most people never came back for their gold. It just sat there. So bankers thought, why not lend out some of this gold and charge interest? And that's when banking became profitable. But here's the key moment in history. Are you paying attention? Because this is where the magic begins. Bankers realized they could lend out more gold than they actually had in the vault. Why? Because the odds of everyone coming to withdraw their gold at the same time were incredibly low. This system is called fractional reserve banking, and it's the foundation of how modern money creation works. Now, we don't use gold anymore, but the principle, it's exactly the same, except now it's even more powerful. Okay, here's where I need you to focus, because this next part is the secret that unlocks everything. When you deposit money in a bank, you think it's your money, safely stored away. But legally, the moment you hand it over, it becomes the bank's money. You're actually giving them a loan, and they owe you that money back. Still with me? Drop a yes in the comments if your mind is already starting to blow, because we're just getting started. All right, let me walk you through exactly how banks create money using a simple example. You walk into a bank and deposit $1,000 in cash. That money goes into your checking account. You see $1,000 on your bank app. All good so far. Now, here's the rule. Banks are required to keep a certain percentage of deposits as reserves, money they can't touch. In many countries, this is around 10%. So out of your $1,000, they must keep $100 in reserve. Step 3, the loan. But that other $900, the bank can lend it out. So they give someone else a $900 loan to buy a car, start a business, whatever. Now, here's the insane part, and this is what most people miss. When the bank gives out that $900 loan, they don't take your $1,000 out of your account. Your account still shows $1,000. The bank just created new money by making a loan. They literally typed $900 into the borrower's account. Money that didn't exist before now exists. Wait, because it gets even crazier. That borrower takes their $900 and spends it. Let's say they buy a car and the car dealer deposits that $900 into their bank. Now, that bank keeps 10%, $90, as reserves and can lend out $810. That $810 gets spent, deposited elsewhere, and that bank lends out $729. This cycle continues, and by the time it's done, your original $1,000 deposit has created about $9,000 in total money supply. This is called the money multiplier effect, and it's how $1 becomes $9. This is real. This is happening right now with your money in banks across the world. Now, you might be thinking, wait, if banks can just create money out of thin air, what stops them from creating infinite money and causing chaos? Great question. And the answer, there are limits, but they're not what you think. Stay with me for 2 more minutes because this is where things get really interesting and a little scary. So what stops banks from going crazy and creating unlimited money? Limit number 1, reserve requirements. Central banks, like the Federal Reserve in the U.S., set minimum reserve requirements. Banks must keep a certain percentage in reserve. But here's the catch. During the 2020 pandemic, the U.S. Fed reduced this requirement to 0. Yes, 0. Banks technically don't have to hold any reserves right now on most deposits. Limit number 2, capital requirements. Banks must maintain a certain level of capital, essentially their own money as a buffer. This prevents them from being too reckless, but it's still a small percentage. Limit number 3, demand for loans. Banks can only create money when people or businesses want to borrow. No demand for loans, no money creation. Limit number 4, confidence. This is the big one. The entire system relies on trust. As long as people believe their money is safe in the bank, the system works. But what happens when that trust breaks? Bank runs, financial crises. When everyone tries to withdraw their money at once, banks can collapse because the money isn't actually there. It's been lent out, created digitally, multiplied across the system. This happened in 1929. It happened in 2008. And it could happen again. That's why governments created deposit insurance to keep people calm and maintain confidence in the system. In the U.S., it's FDIC insurance that protects up to $250,000 per account. Okay, so now you understand how banks create money. But here's the question nobody's asking. What does this mean for you? Because this system has massive implications for inflation, wealth inequality, and the economy. And if you don't understand it, you're playing a game where you don't even know the rules. Let me break down the real-world impact in the next 90 seconds. Implication number 1, inflation. When banks create money faster than the economy creates goods and services, you get inflation. More money chasing the same amount of stuff equals higher prices. This is why your groceries, rent, and everything else keeps getting more expensive. Implication number 2, debt-based economy. Almost all money in our system is created through debt. Someone has to borrow for money to exist. This means the economy needs constant growth and borrowing to function. If lending stops, money creation stops, and the economy can collapse. Implication number 3, wealth inequality. Those who understand this system and who have access to cheap credit can borrow newly created money to buy assets like real estate and stocks. As more money enters the system, asset prices rise, making the wealthy wealthier. Meanwhile, average people see their savings lose value due to inflation. This isn't a conspiracy. It's just how the system works. And now that you know, you can make smarter financial decisions. So there you have it. Banks don't store your money. They use it to create new money through lending. And this process, called fractional reserve banking with the money multiplier effect, is how 97% of all money comes into existence. It's not magic. It's not illegal. It's just not something they teach you in school. Now that you understand how the system works, you're one step ahead. So here's my challenge to you. Share this video with someone who still thinks banks are just big vaults. Let's spread some real financial literacy. And if you want to learn more about money, economics, and how to actually build wealth in this system, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.